Okay, hello. Good afternoon for most of us, I think. And um, this is really, in a way, replacing what I usually do with the learn by doing, but we will do some of that. But I really want to use this couple of hours to talk about the HAG changes I've been making, why it's important, and future plans. And really, especially Nini, since this is the first time you've heard about it, please feel free to ask questions as we move along. And then we'll get into something that I got into with a conversation with Hal Puthoff, and I think this will lead to a project that we'll do. Okay, so here's the rough outline. First, I want to give the motivation for this new model, and then you all will use the current version, so you'll get to see what it's like to make predictions. Some people have been using it like last week and it wasn't working. It is working now. And then we'll talk about Hal's suggestion. So HAG can now be called HAG30. You know what? I just kind of put this together since some of you do not know what HAG is. Here's a rough history of HAG. HAG stands for harsh analysis with gestalts. It's basically, hold on. I just want to make sure it isn't somebody who doesn't know what to do. Hello?
Hello, my name is Billy. I'm calling from George Home Market.
Not interested. And it's the scoring system we use for the transcripts. Now, this started with Russ Targ, who used a 0 to 7 system, and we continue to grade with 0 to 7. But Joe McMonaco added this concept of gestalts being worth half of the analysis. So we've modified our system with what we now call HAG, and Tom added a little bit of a harsh bit to that in the scoring system. But it's basically a scoring system. So that's what HAG is. Now, I want to go back here. What we have now done in using HAG is change the way it's done. So those of you who know, there was a click for HAG, and it allowed you to enter things and come up with the final ranking, a final confidence ranking. What we've done, and you'll see this in a moment because you're going to be doing sessions, is taken the elements which were always there, but they never had categories near them. And this is the big thing we've done with this new HAG30. The 30 is because this is where we put the confidence rankings. And the confidence ranking choices now are big B. It's always, the elements have always been against your transcript. Big B, little b, or a blank for each of the elements in your transcript. But now here they mean a 5, a 3.5, or a 1. We right now have not done FIG directly because we believe we have enough information to calculate it based on the category information. So let's do it. I mean, I think the best way to learn this is to do it. What I've done is highlighted here today's predictions, which are for SAGE or APP_3, and the feedback will be for tomorrow. So you may have had something in your email from these two if you're a member of those groups. If not, let me know and I'll show you the link to get started. So just tell me what you'd
I
like.
haven't actually found the groups. But you can tell me later.
Okay, Nini, go to our website. You know where our website is?
Yep, one
The
second.
one that scared you off. Right there, there's a tab for membership and messages. Or if you like, just email me. Email me and I'll get you in touch
Which email?
with Julie.
Yeah, Julie, I think I already annoyed her with too many questions, to be honest.
Well, that's what she does.
Okay.
She's a volunteer, really wonderful, and that's what she does. Okay, so there's my email. You can email me. Okay.
Where is it?
Now, you've probably then never here. In the emails, the way this works is everything is done with emails and the system is intended to be quite simple. I just clicked on what would be in the email to get you started. And I'm going to put that in the chat box. So others may want to do the Sage.
Okay.
But for you can just click that.
Okay.
And that is
Okay.
exactly what you would get in the morning or in the evening as you're tasking.
Okay.
Okay. So you can start there. Is everybody else clear? Because I want them to get the experience of this. Again, you can use either Sage or the other. If you're not in any group, use this one, and that'll get you through the whole thing. And then I'll give you the feedback link tomorrow.
Okay.
Is that reasonably clear?
Yeah.
That is clear? Good.
Marty, it's Donna. I have a question.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. So this is APPI 3, right?
Correct.
Today's Wednesday. So when we get the feedback today instead of tomorrow?
No, you're doing it today. Feedback will come. Well, that's true. You'll
Wednesday,
get,
right?
you're right.
Okay.
No, you're correct. You'll get feedback at the end of the day,
Okay,
not
just
tomorrow.
making sure.
You are correct about that. So you should get your feedback by the end of the day, and period. So
Thank
as I'm going to
you.
show you, I'm having a little trouble with the feedback part of this, but at least you can see where we are with that.
Marty, can I just ask a question as well? I'm getting on my emails, I get the predictions, but I don't get sent the tasks stroke coordinates for the APPI group. So I'm in the financials group, I get the tasks, the coordinates for that. But for the others, I'm just getting the predictions and not the task coordinates. Is that a glitch?
That's very strange, of course, since we've got the right email for you. You've checked your junk files and things like that, Essie?
I can go back and do that. But the others are coming through, right? The financial one comes through, but I can check. I just wondered is it a common problem, and
No, it's a very uncommon problem. Just
Okay.
because everything is automated with your email.
Yeah.
And so that's very strange. Check a few things. I mean, you obviously have to get the tasking.
Yeah.
You can get them from the website email there's email posted.
Okay.
So that's a poor second choice.
All right. Well, I'll check. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody else was going to ask a question. No. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and do your sessions. Oh, I said I was going to do motivation. I'll do that after you do your sessions.
What do I do?
Did you click on the link there?
Yeah, so do I log on with my email address?
Exactly.
Okay, and twice.
And then you'll get a coordinate.
Okay.
And all you need,
Do I click, click here to receive your coordinate?
right?
Okay.
It's very user-friendly.
Yeah, look, once I've done it a few times, it's okay, but right now it's not okay. So I have a coordinate.
So get a blank sheet of paper,
Yeah.
put your coordinate on the top left, put your
Oh.
name and the group, APPI_3 on the right, the date, time.
Sorry, can you just say that again? What do I put on the
On the left, put the coordinate.
left coordinate? Yep.
On the right, put your name,
Yep.
the group, APPI_3, the date and time.
Is it APP_3 or APPI?
APPI_3.
Okay.
And then you've done some remote viewing before.
Yep.
Okay. And just when you feel ready, do a little cool down. When you feel ready, repeat your ideogram and your coordinate and do an ideogram and start.
Marty? Marty?
Yes.
This is Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Marty. This is, you sent the link for APP3, but today is Wednesday, so that one is already over.
Right. This is all for learning at this point. I have to tell you, I've been spending so much time getting this done, and I haven't got it done, that some of the choices like this I've made haven't been the best. But, just bear with me, live with me. This is really to get you to see the system and comment on it and make suggestions and have me tell you about how.
Okay, it was just, you will give us the feedback at the end of this webinar then, because it's over. I mean, the Wednesday, 6 a.m., the results are here already, aren't they?
At 1 o'clock, they'll be in, but as I'll tell you, the feedback part is the part I'm working now, and it is not done. So, hopefully by Thursday it will be. Some people are holding off doing anything this week until I get things in shape. So this is really to discuss this new version and have a discussion about HAL, which I think you will find very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so
you can just, if you've done it already, do something quickly. I want you to see the system.
yeah, all right. It was only, what does it reference, which target is it, to which reference do I send my consciousness, basically? But
well, no, let me see what I have to tell you. And I said it here. So you're all doing your transcripts now. So one of the new things you've seen is that next to each element, you number each one of your elements, right? You've all done that. In fact, you probably ought to write end of session on all of yours, since, as you say, this is not a real session.
All right.
Okay. But on your transcript, you number all of your elements, including your ideograms. And when you do, here, I guess it won't hurt anything for me to jump in now and I'll show you mine. And I can do a fake one. Okay. So let me choose. They're not real. I do this. Okay, so those of you who are doing A under 3 have seen this. So let's say my element number 1 was marked as an ideogram, and my ideograms sometimes give information. So I'm going to put an A there. But the next thing on my transcript, let's just say, was a really good kinesthetic. I had just this feeling of motion. Motion, one of the other things you can do is there is something for motion here. And each of you are going to have to decide and get used to your own system when there are choices like that. And then let's say my third one was no good. And I'm going to give it a blank, but say that it was a taste. And then, and this is something which is new, and I felt strongly about several colors. So on my transcript, I got several colors in a row. In the old system, it was very cumbersome. You had to go back. So this is clearly an improvement for that. Okay, and let's say that's all. Let's just since we're doing this, we'll say that all I have were 6 elements, and now I have to do the fig. So as I showed at on that other slide, the fig is now in category, not the fig, I'm sorry. The confidence ranking is now at the CAT30. In fact, I may call this whole thing HAG30, and then I have to give it a ranking. So let's say I like this enough to wager on it, I'm going to give it a small a. So just like in the old system, you give your confidence ranking, and there it is. And you definitely still can give it a fig. All of this will be saved. Okay, now I do B. Okay, same thing. Here, this matched my ideogram a little better. And I was, okay, maybe this was motion feeling, whatever. You need to redo each of your elements. I'm making this up here. In fact, let's say that one was blank here. This one could have been blank here, even though before it was a color that didn't match. But here, let's say the color did match. Hopefully you get the idea. So this is just like you were doing before, except that you now have these categories, which is why I'm doing this. I became convinced, and a number of people, including Tom McNair, and Donna and Teresa, all felt this was important for improving our hit rates. Okay, so let's say here I give it a fig of 0.3. I do want to always give it a confidence ranking. This one wasn't as good, so I'm going to give it a blank. Okay. So the other one was barely wagerable. This one was wagerable. Now, once you're done with that, is this hope clear to everybody? Really, the only new thing is you're doing the CRs in this new way.
This I didn't understand. The element 30, you gave CR as a category, but that I don't understand why it took. No, I don't understand what you're valuing there.
Well, the TARG system actually is still here. This is the TARG confidence ranking system in words. We've modified it because of what Joe said, where you really want to take into account your gestalts. So that affects what you do here, but it's a 0 to 7 system. If you have no correspondence, and you do this for each one of your things, you saw there was a CR for photosite A, a CR for photosite B. So if there's no correspondence, it's a 0, little is a 1, 2, and there's some stuff, but it could be chance. 3, you're right on the margin. You feel maybe you got enough stuff that really you were contact with the actual target, but just barely. 4 is good correspondence. These are TARG's words. We take 3.5 to be wagerable, so that would be now like a little b, but marginally wagerable. When you get up to 5, you now have really strong, unambiguous, unique, matchable elements. You still have some incorrect information, but some of it is really good. A 4, it was good too. You had several matchable elements intermixed, but a 5 is very good. And then 6 and 7, you begin to name the target or its function and things like that. So even on yours, you have to make a judgment about that. Do it in the system so you can learn it.
Yeah, my question was not what is the CR, but why choosing element 30? For example, I have like 12 elements, and then I jump to element 30, which isn't even on my.
Well, that's because it's a CR. The more serious problem, and it happened once already to somebody, is if you have 35 elements, what do you do? And all I can say is what you do is use your best with the other 5. I really encourage people to do a lot less than 30. We're doing ARV. I'd like you to do lots of sessions. So, but the fact that it goes there is because that's where I wanted to put it. It's convenient there. Most people, like here, and even in your case, use less. And so this is where we put it.
All right.
Okay. So now I put a little a there. I left this one blank, and that's my prediction. And now what you do is you click here and you're done with your analysis. You've done your RV session, you've done your analysis, you click there and you're done, and something like this will come up. It's doing the analysis. Now, but I actually want to improve kind of the way it's doing that, but there it is. It did the analysis for you. It gave you a rough idea. See, if I was looking at this, I was not happy with photosite A. You know, I gave it a 3.5, so I might not wager. So you do not have to consider those CRAs. But then you're done. Okay, is that clear enough for everybody?
Marty, I have a question. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
please. That's why we're here.
Donna, go ahead.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi.
So when you click into the HAG where they're calculating the scores as the TARG system 0 through 7, correct?
Right?
If you have not put your CR in yet,
No, that is correct.
you need to put your CR in before you go into HAG for everything to get transferred.
Now, and that is a change. And you put it here. It's possible, I certainly wasn't up to programming it now. It's possible I could give you an opportunity, but notice, except for the 50%, which was done, it did do a HAG analysis based on what you've done here.
Yeah, right. And that's good. But what I'm asking is, because I noticed this when I was doing one the other day,
Yeah,
I didn't, so what I did was I got done, but I didn't put the CR ranking in. I went to HAG first, which felt intuitive to me. But, and then when I came back out of HAG, I put the CR in and thought I was done, but it didn't go onto the, over to you. It didn't go over to you and give you the numbers. So what I'm saying is, it feels like if you don't put your CR in first and then go to HAG, your CR won't get transferred over, because by pushing that button to go to HAG, submits your CR there.
it turns out if you go back, put the CRs again, it will then save it to the server with your new CRs.
But you got to hit HAG again, right? You got to go back.
But you
into
have to
HAG.
click this again.
Yeah, so that'll throw you back into HAG. All right, that's what I was trying to get straight, because
Correct, correct.
what I did was I went back, I did my HAG, I hit the button, did HAG, went back in, put my CR in, and then just left, thinking that that was in. But then I saw that it didn't go to the server. So everybody just needs to make sure that when you put your CR in, you also go and hit that button, the button that takes you into HAG, to make sure your CR goes onto the server.
That is correct,
Okay.
because nothing will be saved unless you do submit, but you
Right.
can go back and change it
Right.
again, which is something people have told me about and they want to do.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So I think, let me just make sure one more time that I'm understanding this. So when you actually put CR in element 30 and you select whether it's a small a or a big A, or do you just always use the small character to submit
You
it?
always use these characters. This is equivalent to a 5. The little b is 3.5.
Okay.
This is
So
nothing.
you would use that, like a 3.5 would be a small a and a 5 would be a big A. And if you think it's under, if based on the TARG, because at this point, unless you do it like Donna did, unless you do that way, if you're just putting in the CR before you click down there, you're not going to know what your CR is through the HAG system.
That's the way it is now. That's the way it is now.
Okay.
I
So
hope everybody appreciates still that the gestalt is so important. And you see that comes into the FIG. Notice HAG still is working based on the FIG, and the FIG was a very important part. So you still do have to do it, but now it's calculating it for you.
and I think even though it says, when you click on the HAG and submission after you've already entered your CR scores, even though it says you have to go back and enter something, you don't have to enter anything.
I'm going to have to change that. That's correct. Once you click this and see that, you are done.
So if you have,
See, this is the kind of stuff that's actually making it simpler. It's
Yeah.
different, but a lot of it is simpler.
so in the past, you were entering your CRs down below, like you were going through the
Right.
HAG process that was giving you the CRs, and you were taking those CRs and you were putting them down below.
That's
So
correct.
instead of doing that now, you're just saying, I think my CR is above 3.5, and so I'm going to give it a little A, or I think my CR is a really good match, so I'm going to give it a big A.
Correct.
So if you still have, if you have a little A on this one and a little B on the other one, what you end up predicting, whether it's A or B, that's going to be dependent on what your actual scores are, your CR scores that the HAG.
Calculates.
So the calculation on whether it's A or B, you're going to know that after you enter this. The only thing you have to worry about is, I think both of these are above a 3.5 or not, right?
And how well. And in some way, you know, now maybe it's just because I've now changed it and it's going to stay this way for some time, so I can still make mods eventually. But the idea of a specific CR, you know, we've done studies and it changes slowly. Sometimes the high ones are misses. That's when people, you know, say they have displacement. Using the little a, little b approach, I think is not so bad. It forces you to do that. Plus, with the fig, you do get a HAG calculated value. So I don't know. I think you get used to it. Notice, you see, in some ways I was inconsistent here. Well, maybe not. I gave myself this fig of a 0.7 here, even though I gave this a little a, and that, of course, gave me the big CR. So I understand it all, and I'll just have to think now, do I really think this should dominate or that in terms of wagering? If I wager, and a lot of people don't. But
What you get? You know, I mean, I'm here in World War III on my fucking thing. Oh no. What happened to that?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the phone with somebody.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
yeah. Here, okay, you muted yourself or? Okay, any more questions up to this point?
One
There
of
Yes.
was a question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Marty, this is Patsy. I do have a question.
Sure.
So we're going to put, I understand the A's and B's and the elements. So say I'm on element 8 and I don't have anything for element 8 because I didn't get it right. It's not color, whatever. I should still go into the cat 8 and put whether it was the color that I missed. If that's what I
Yes, and
Okay.
notice that might happen on one transcript and not the other. You would do it this way. See, eventually, and this is what all the conversation was in setting this up, was that I should be able to do much more analysis than I ever was able to do before. You know, in terms of how well you do on colors,
okay.
on the winning side, and yeah, so you can see having these categories is really a big plus. And even though I haven't finished the feedback yet, I'm going to allow you to change. So often people say, oh my God, I don't believe I missed this or I missed that. You're going to be able to change it, and I will be able to keep track of the original and the changed version. There's just so much I'm going to be able to do with this that I think is going to be very helpful to you. And that's the whole purpose of this, is I got very frustrated. I feel we've hit a wall here and we need to do something to get to the next level.
Okay, thank you.
You want to talk a little bit about what Catherine is asking about, what is motion, feeling, and analytical response?
You know, I mean, roughly the words do speak for themselves. Oh, this is in the CRV phase. And Tom has talked about this extensively, and it comes from Ingo, who, after you do the ideogram, and sort of while you're doing it, you get a sense of the motion and the feeling. Was it very fast? You get certain feelings associated with it. It could be anything. You get stuff, and then you just write it down quickly. And then you basically make a guess at the gestalt, which is interesting. That's the only time you sort of use a little analytical, and then you go on. I don't know if that helps. It was always a little vague, but Tom gave a more detailed explanation, but I just gave you what I got from it. Does
Okay,
that
so
match what you get, Teresa?
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Okay, so the analytical response is what you think it may be.
That's the B. Yep.
The gestalt. I mean, it's not naming it, it's describing it, like, is it man-made? Is it a bio? You infer that from, if you're doing ideograms, you'll often come up with something. If you probe the ideogram, or as you're doing the ideogram, you'll get an impression of what it is. And that's the analytical response that you get. And
Right.
usually it's something
Notice here you might got water.
Yeah, I got water.
Might get man-made. And
I
it'll
got man-made.
come to you. You're not guessing, it just comes to you.
Oh,
Are what we're looking at the results for what you just gave us? Or are you just explaining the table below the picture?
Right. But do you have any question at all? What?
I don't know anything because I've never done it. So I'm just listening, and that I don't want to interrupt the
No, but yeah, no, but that's it. If you don't know CRV, then you'd skip these first three. Though ideogram is just a quick squiggle. It really gets things going. It's great. And sometimes, and that's ignore A and B if you don't know CRV, but you'll get impressions, and it'll be these, and you'll get several of them. And often you might want to take a little break, and just a short little break, and go back in and get more impressions with another ideogram. So that's the remote viewing part. I have lots of, on our website, lots of stuff in there. Tom has talked about this, Tom McNair, he worked with Ingo, and I think some of the titles will say things like that. So you can go back to my past webinars, and you can get more instruction from there. Other questions, comments? Okay, let me now, now that you've done this, this order actually works fine. I want to motivate this.
Actually, I do have a question, Marty.
Sure, please go ahead.
Categories. Somewhere there is the category cluster, but let's assume I have a sketch, a color, and a taste, and they all match. Then I number them, and let's say they are 8, 9, 10. So they all match, and they are a cluster. But in the category, I just can choose color or cluster. Do I make over, let's say, when I number it, I circle those three, and then I give them a new number, and that will end up in the category of that number, you know?
Absolutely. Clusters are dynamite. Not only are the numbers, usually they come right next to each other. You know what I mean? Usually there's no break in between. You get a sense of a sketch, a color, maybe one other item motion, and all of those, three of those, if they give matches, that's a great cluster. And yes, just make a new element number in the table, you know, here, you know, go down to the next one and call it a cluster and give it a big A or a little a.
Okay.
Which is what you said. I'm just repeating it. Yes, you
Yeah.
said it just right.
All right. All right. Thank you.
And, you know, this is the way to use this, is that kind of flexibility now you're able to do. Okay. Other questions? Now, we have this Precog Pro program. It's been going for a long time now, a couple of years. And even before then, people just seem to get hung up. And I'm going to show you some examples here. And this is from one of our Precog pros. You look at this, the red is cumulative hit rate, right? You all know what a hit rate is. It's the number of hits divided by number of hits plus misses. Okay, so that's a hit rate. Every one of your predictions ends off with either a hit, a miss, or a pass. Passes are ignored. Now, people started doing enough of these, plus I really wanted to know what they were doing now, not what they were doing back here. And so we started quite a while ago with the 25-day moving average. So ignoring passes, we take the last 25 predictions, and here's the average. And look at this. I mean, it sure looks like this guy is learning. Yes, sometimes there's beginning luck. But here, look at the learning that's going on, and hey, I got it. And the 10 days, the same thing, but it's a 10-day moving average. Notice the blue curve always stops at even 10 numbers, 90, 80. So he got 9 out of 10 there, 9 out of 10 there. His 25-day is up to like 84%. This is exciting. And I think the psychology of that is what causes the next phase. And that's what I'm working with this approach to get over. The psychology, notice he was doing so well up to here. This was certainly good enough. He earned $2,600 in our pre-pro program. But then to drop down to 50% during this period, after being so good, I was still giving him credit, still giving him a lot of credit. When do I stop? It's almost impossible to know. Comes up again to 90, goes down. This is the worst thing in the world for someone who is trying to do wagering at this and giving people, I have several Precog pros that might come to me. And so I try to give them different weighting factors, but you can see how hard that is. Let me show you another one. This person started out well, went up to 75% overall, had 10 out of 10 here on this last session, then went down to 50, went up to 9 out of 10, then went down to 30. Okay, and just the 10-day is oscillating too much. The 25-day, notice, ended off at around 65%. And the same thing was through here, maybe 64%. I want to show you the most amazing one I've ever had, and that was back in 2004. This person had 14 hits in a row. Remember, we ignore passes. 14 hits in a row. 10 hits is 1 out of 1,000, and then 10th time. Anyway, the odds are incredible. But then look at his overall. I wasn't doing a 25-day then, but you can imagine. He also ended off at 65%, 66%. That's what I mean when I say we've reached a level, and I don't know, frankly, if someday I get convinced it's impossible to do better, I'll probably stop with the Precog Pro program. But I don't believe that. What I believe is what we're doing here with the categories, and try to motivate all of you to take this, I don't know, take maybe more time. And it turns out the remote viewing session doesn't take, I don't know what to tell you. Look into your own gut. It's your subconscious. I give the obvious suggestions, but it becomes very personal. And that's why I say, maybe here, person should take a break. Here, we should take a break. Some people say I should take breaks, but this is happening at different times with different people. And maybe when you're on a high, Ingo used to say that, stop after you're doing really well. So maybe you should stop on a high. That's I don't know, but you might do that. You take a few days off and then you start again, knowing that quite often this happens, but not all the time. You might have stopped here and you would have missed these, but you might have gotten them later. Don't know. But I think that's one of the suggestions which I am putting out there, but the viewer is in charge. And that's because when you do so well, you think you got it. I got it. Well, as soon as you say that, you don't got it. I've experienced that myself many, many times. Okay, I have not talked with you, and now I want to about feedback. This was the latest feedback. The only reason for showing it is it shows how it will look. But if this was your hit target, and notice the CRs are here, but all the rest of this is pretty much garbage. And that's the coding I'm doing now to completely reproduce what you put in. And you will immediately be able to see the CRs here and your FIG. Your FIG will be here when I get my programming done. But the status is such now that I don't think you should do your feedback. And that may mean you shouldn't do any more sessions for now. I'm still giving the feedback link, frankly, so I can test it. But if you do it, you will get a garbage page because my programming in the old days, God, I used to program in Fortran, but in the old days, we had multiple computers. And so I could take a piece of code, put it on a different computer and test it without impacting the old code so people could use that. I can't do that now. I have only one server. So my recommendation to you now is until I say otherwise, don't do feedback. And therefore, you may not want to do any sessions, but I'll tell you when it's clear. Okay, Linda, Pro Appliance. I know you are looking for anything. Oh, Linda, did I make you a Precog Pro?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did enough. Thank you for reminding me. I will make a note.
Thank you.
However, though right now you can't do anything, but however, what I said, I put you on the Precog Pro list. So all of your calculations, I'm assuming you'll sign it. It's actually, as you'll see, it's really favorable protecting you more than me. Send contract. Okay, I made myself a note. I'll eventually get it. I think you're getting the feeling that I've been consumed with this HAG30.
Absolutely. So complex.
Yeah, and I just so badly underestimated the time involved. But that seems to be true almost all the time with programming. Okay, let's see. Catherine, I went through a bad slump, took a break, concentrated a minute today, and it helped. The important thing is, well, very good advice. Very good advice, Catherine. And one of the reasons with email and having our groups is just share that advice and your experiences, your positive experiences with everybody. So I thank you for sharing that here.
Could I ask 2 more questions?
Of course.
Okay, so if we're not going into the feedback screen, we're still going to get the email from you that says whether A or B won, right? And we'll get the feedback photo site that'll come in the email.
That is correct.
Okay.
And that's a very good point, because with the prediction you got, and that still should be working, so please confirm this. With your prediction, you got whether it was an up prediction or a down prediction.
I haven't got to that point. The last one I didn't go to that point, so I don't know.
Because you didn't do this.
Well, I did, but the last one I didn't do the CR thing right, I think. So I just need to do another one where I'm inputting the CR correctly.
Okay.
30, because I don't think I did it right.
Donna, I know you've done some earlier.
Yeah.
Did
yeah.
you get a email like usual, which said up versus down?
I don't think so. I'd have to go back and look. I've been kind of scattered, so I can't really.
No,
answer.
is Donna still here? She actually did more. Do you know Donna, or did you? You might have had to leave.
I sent in Pegasus for Monday, and when I sent the CRs, it gave me a page saying there was a question printed. So I had no
Okay.
feedback. I had no prediction up or down.
Okay. Just
my
because that's a very good point. I mean, while you may not get the feedback picture, if you could know whether you got a hit or miss, even though it won't be in the system, then that would be great, right?
Yeah, until we're able to go in there, at least, we'll get some information on whether it was a hit or not. That would be good.
Right.
Let me go in here because the last one that I was able to go all the way through was Sage, but I don't know if I did the CR thing right. I just have to
Right.
see if I can go in there and see what it did, if anything.
Ah. Yep, here's one example. So when I send out the group prediction email, and I will keep doing that, and I've been doing so much testing, I'm almost always doing passes now. You will get an email just like this. And Teresa, you may have gotten one, if the code was up to giving you the CRs. Once the CRs go in, then when I do the prediction, you get an email like this. So the answer to your question is, in fact, a lot of you may very well want to do it just so you can evaluate your transcript. And you probably will remember the target well enough that you can do some feedback on your own.
So has a feedback or has a prediction gone out for Sage today?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait, for Sage?
Yeah. That's today, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I haven't gotten a prediction yet for Sage.
Oh, wait, this was last month.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm not 100% sure of that now. The one I showed you was last month.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten feedback, of course. So, I mean,
Right.
that's what I'm trying to think. I'll get the email.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll do the prediction as soon as we finish this. So I have a 2:00 meeting with a programmer who I've worked with before.
Is it useful for you to know what came after the CR upload? Because I posted in the Pegasus group a screenshot. I made a screenshot of the feedback page, not the feedback page, the upload CR page. So if you
you sent me that stuff, and I'm sorry, I'm just not up to it. Okay. I mean, what you want me to do is get it in the system, and the system isn't even working. So I think you just have to say, okay, look, I got to do a session, but that's the end of it.
But if we send you a screenshot, then if you do need to see what it's doing on our computers, you'll have that. You may not be able to get back to us, but.
Well, you might know, and you could find out if it was up or down, but it's not going to be saved. You know what? We have time. Oh, no, I want to talk about Hal. I was going to say I could do the Sage very quickly now.
Could I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Okay. Say, for instance, you just go in there and you just want to do the elements like you've always done the elements and nothing else. And you don't want to do the categories right now until maybe it's a little further down the road. Can you do that? You don't have to enter the categories right now.
No problem. In fact, you could do nothing, but you do have to put in the CRs to make a prediction.
So if you don't enter anything at all and you just say that on the CR, you either put a little a or a big A or or a little b or a big B. that
Right.
would-
If you fill in those two CRs, click, you're done. You've made your prediction.
But it won't actually do anything unless one is a big A and one is a little b or something like that. Otherwise, it won't have any data in there. I mean, you have
Correct.
to have something in there for it to have data to make the prediction.
That's correct. You do need to do that. Okay, here's the spy chart. I can see Sage went up. Let me just quickly do that now. Here. And we can all get the answers to the question. What I'm doing now, you do not need to understand. This is the group manager's job. Okay. Oh, it said I made a prediction for down. I'm not sure I believe that. I might not have given that out, but let me do a prediction here. The actual prediction is up. Yeah, until I get all this straightened out. But this should give the prediction for up. And it will tell you. Okay, so in my mailbox, and hopefully your mailbox is too. Right. It said up. Okay, they're just, yeah, so I can send that as long as you know which way you went. And that happens in the predictions.
And the feedback will come through email like that as well, like it usually does.
Correct. I want to just do this. You know, I'm you know, this is in debug phase, and you are all beta testers. And I thank you for that, and thank you for your understanding. Even though it's after the fact, I think this will let me do it, but we will see, because I want to see what the email does. I would never do this during normal times. I'm going to pass. I'm going to put a nominal number in here. And now, and let's see if the email, in fact, went, oops. Okay. It looks like it's going through. And so if you do your session, you will know whether it's up, down, or pass. Okay, I made a prediction this time of pass, but right there, it will say up, down, or pass.
Marty, can I
Yep.
ask a question? This is Donna. So when I've been doing these both for myself and HUD varmints, and when I get done and I hit the submit button, it doesn't take me to a page that tells me whether I predicted up or down or pass or whatever. So
You get that in this email.
oh, so the prediction isn't the group prediction, it's my prediction. Each person's prediction is what's coming in that email?
No, that's a good point. What about your prediction?
Well, I can look at, like right now you just sent Sage, which was hunt varmints. And I make little notes on my paperwork when I do the session, when I do the analysis. So I know which side was which, because you sent the feedback saying today was up, right?
Right, but
So I know what photo site was A and B and all that. So I can figure it out in my mind. But yeah, we
Okay.
don't know what our prediction
I
was.
understand. I'm making
Yeah.
a note of that too. That's the kind of, I consider that to be actually smaller programming level than what I've been doing. But you're
Well,
right.
I just want to help everybody that's trying to do it right now be able to know what their prediction was before feedback comes. So then when you get the feedback, you know, oh yeah, I went this way or that way.
Right. Right.
So like
You
right
see,
on,
if this were up or, oh no, it does say here.
it does.
Right here, it says photosite A or photosite B. So you will know. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
No.
but when we do the analysis, it used to be after you submitted your session, it
Right.
would tell you you either passed or you went this way or that way. This is a group prediction, right?
Well, yeah, but the PSA and PSB is still valid. However, this may come later than when I used to give it to you directly.
Okay, so okay, I see what you're saying. So it's the same for everybody now because the photo sites are the same.
Right.
All right. Okay, because I was thinking back when we each had our own individual photo sites.
Right. The only need here is to have it come sooner, which is what it used to be.
Thank you, Marty. I don't see that to be a problem, really. I mean, but yeah.
No, actually, it shouldn't be a problem.
As long as we
Yeah,
know when the
this-
feedback comes, which
that's
side
I'm
was
still
which.
trying to, all of this right now is to try to get up to the next level. Okay, but I understand what you said. That is a slight change.
Is it still random, B down and A up? Is it double?
Absolutely.
Ah, okay.
Nobody but the computer knows. The computer chooses that for each set and each
Okay.
prediction. So you can't take that into account.
Yeah, all right.
But Marty, every time, so I'm just trying to get the random part here. When the computer decides, let's say A is up and B is down, that's the same for everybody that viewed in that group.
Correct, on that day.
Okay, got it.
Mhm. Right. They have different coordinates, but the up and down association with each of the two possible targets is the same for everybody.
Thank you.
No, keep asking away. This is great.
This is a fundament for me, like sounds fundamentally different from like before, because I think before it was half of the group got one picture for up and the other half got the other picture. Now it's for everybody the same associated picture with up and associated picture with down. So this is a fundamental change.
No, it always was the first way. You just didn't know it.
Okay.
Now, no, there are two groups for every day, and each group it's randomly chosen. So it's not the same between groups. But
Okay, I really thought that it's for each viewer randomly associated up and down with the picture, with the two pictures. So that's I didn't know
Okay.
that.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure that matters since nobody but the computer knows for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it should matter. I don't consider that something I would consider changing. Because as long as it's a blind target, as it is, it's a blind target. And they were, notice the,
In the sense of doing some statistics, you know, if some it's just like a control. Then if some pictures do attract more viewers or something like that, but it's okay. It's just a side note in my head.
you know, it's interesting because we once tried to do that analysis. You know, we could look at the photo sites and there were hits and misses. Having a survey, everything just takes time. And what we found, unfortunately, is since we changed them so often, the same picture didn't come up that often. So, One thing which I will tell you now, I recently saw a couple of pairings. I'm doing these pairings new, and I do my best to make them different. I saw one that I'm going to change. If you ever get a pairing that you think is not good, please let me know. I will look at it and change it, because when I get through, I had 800 before, 800 pairs. I'm then going to go randomly through them. But then I'll take out the bad ones, but so much of it is personal.
It is, yeah.
In fact, let me tell you a story, a quick one, and then let's go on to Hal. I had this one fellow who I had this great picture of a person underwater, a boy underwater in a pool. I consider that to be a delightful one. He said he almost drowned in a pool. And so he considered that to be a terrible target. So they're just examples. Everybody's different.
Yeah, I noticed as well, maybe that's interesting for somebody, that when I have a picture that I do not like, then then the possibility for displacement is huge, because somehow my consciousness goes to the picture I like most. And in these cases, I do a pass, because I know I don't like this picture, so I cannot trust my viewing.
Okay, with that attitude, that's just what you should do. You might consider getting over that. In other words, tell your sub, I don't care. All I want to do is describe and sketch the picture. Most of the pictures are not like scary, but even if they were, you can't get hurt. And why not try to get over it? I mean, we're at a wall, let's get over the wall, and that might be one thing to do. No excuses.
It's in the development, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm refining.
Well, and keep trying. That's what you do, and stay with it, and you will learn and get better. Every time you do one of these, you'll learn something, and I'm going to be giving you, once I get this HAG30 underway, more information. Okay, let's talk about Hal. Hal Puthoff, just guy's been around forever. He helped start with TARG, the whole remote viewing program, plus Ingo. His thing, which we talked about, was kinesthetics. He thinks that's really very important. He ultimately sent me, and I now have 28 pairs. I want to describe those to you. And I'll even give you one example. I hesitated because I didn't want to use one up, but I think it's worth it just so you get the idea. When they had people at SRI, and other people have done this, they would have in a box, 2 boxes, actual things you could touch, objects. And then you would, whichever was the correct ARV answer, you would go touch it. So this is that idea in pictures. And, we're playing on the kinesthetics, but the feeling, the touching, that sort of thing. But they could be natural, man-made, soft, hard, malleable, rigid, rounded edges, sharp points, uniform shape, or complex. These are the kind of things which, when he was choosing his target, he came up with. And this would be an example. So this is one of the pairs which I will not use. We have 28. And you can see, I mean, you might get more, you might get the feeling of a face, but basically, when you get the feedback, this one is certainly smooth. This one's metal and hard. This one might be malleable. I don't know. But this is just has a whole different feeling about it. If you were to put your finger on it, you would probably call this one rough. There's nothing rough on this one. So that's the idea. As simple as that. And period. So what do you think about that general idea?
Marty,
Yep.
remember when you, me, and Tom did 2 hands? Remember the two hands one where we
Oh,
had
yeah,
like
right.
objects in the box, and then we would we would pick a card out of what the object was, and we try to feel which hand it was in. I still use that for some sports predictions,
Yeah, okay.
and
Um,
I think it's a good way.
Yeah, it's not a brand new idea, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
The question which I would pose to you all is, should I take 27 days and do it in a row, which would be a really interesting study, or should I intermix them with our current target pairs? What's your first gut feeling?
Do it 28 days.
Make a study out of it, yeah. And that's okay. And this then would have front loading. That's what I've been feeling too. So when I can get out of this HAG study and this gets stable, so we all feel comfortable with it, I will do that. And of course, I'll let you know. And I think it'll be very interesting. Maybe this is the idea to get us to the next level. And if so, I can just continue to put these kinds of objects in there.
This
But
be
he's
like-
already done them and paired them, so it makes it very easy right now. Well, relatively easy. It turns out he hasn't separate. Anyway, I got work to do with it, but I want to do it. I think this is a good idea.
Are you interested in new pictures?
Always paired. They're really only good to me if they're paired and you think they're really, really different. I've done so
Okay.
many now and I keep trying to make them different, and I do make them different in one or two or three aspects, but it's impossible to make them different in all aspects, in my opinion.
Marty,
Yeah.
this is Patsy again. Have you tried making simpler target pictures? Like instead of a
that's-
landscape or a building, have something like a spoon or little basic things?
Yep, I have some like that. But one of the things which I can't do, I don't believe, is do that all the time, because then that's what people will get used to. And I want you all to become better viewers, though I also want ARV to be more successful. I do try to keep targets which don't have too many elements in them, but the elements that they do have, I try to make something dramatically different. Like today, there was some overlap. There was blue, I think, in both targets, but one was action with an animal, a whale, and the other was a big structure, but they both had sky in them. Somebody would say, how could you choose those two? But let me tell you, I would love you to give me your best targets, and simple is good. I'd love to have that. A spoon, a man-made spoon versus a fish, whatever. It's up to you, okay? Please send me, and just send them paired, so one's called A1 and A2 or something like that. Okay, actually, that's really all I have. But I'm more than willing to stay and answer questions.
Can you tell us a little more about the HAL project as far as how it would look for us to be participating in it? Is it going to be just the photo pairs, and then we imagine feeling them and put down those feelings, or how does it work?
You would do a normal transcript, and you'd
Oh,
make
okay.
a normal transcript, normal prediction. At your end, nothing will change, except I will front load you that this is really kinesthetics. And I think one of the real things that may happen is this may improve your kinesthetics, by focusing on it. We might want to do another set with just colors, you know. Teresa, that fits in with what you've been doing all along.
Right.
Imagine if we had different targets, one which was really massive in red and the other was massive in blue. And other things would be secondary, like here.
So Marty, could this be a separate group? I mean, as a just, you know, anyone who wanted to do this could just sign up for the kinesthetics group or whatever you wanted to call it, Hal's group or whatever you call it.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, you can see how new all this is.
That would give us, I mean, you wouldn't have to go through and say which ones were Hal's photo sites versus other photo sites. I mean, if you had them grouped all together, you would know that they were all using this.
Well, but I would have to do 5 groups. You know, I'd want one a day. I really am encouraging people to do one a day.
Oh, I just meant
So
to
I
add
could do
this to
one
your-
group. I could do this. So this may be the best thing to do. Choose one group, you know,
Yeah. I mean,
Pegasus A_1. And no, I think I would have to do all the A groups, A_1, A_2, A_3, 4, and 5. And I mean, to do one a week on one means it'll, you know, I think the reaction of everybody is, let's do them in a row. Wasn't that the feeling you got?
Right, but I think what I would think when I was thinking that too was just not intersperse it with other stuff, you know, that I would want these all to be the 28 things, you know, one after another.
Right. So if I do all the APPI_ 1 to 5, this would take 5 weeks. So that's good. So that's a nice month study for people who are into doing all 5. Which again, I would encourage. Huh. I like that. This is really beginning to take better shape. And that was my hope for all of this, because I haven't had a chance to think it through. And now I'm thinking through with your help. Thank you.
So, okay, so we get a unique TRN, and then we would be front loaded with only this is going to be, we're going to be describing the feeling of this photo site. How it would feel to touch it.
Exactly. Put your hand in there.
Okay,
You
so
know,
I'm putting
I don't
my
know
hand in a bag and I'm feeling around, and this is what I'm
Right.
feeling.
And
Yeah.
frankly, I only looked at them quickly and they were very interesting and different. Remember what he said here. Some can be natural, and you're going to come up with the kinesthetic feeling of that natural element. So make no assumptions, as always, when you do a remote viewing session, but focus on the kinesthetics, because that's what distinguishes them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think it does help focus your intention somewhat. It's good practice, because like I said, I still use 2 hands, and I have a certain object that I like to think about. And remember, what we did was we would say whether it was going to be, the feedback was going to be in our right hand or left hand, and then we'd have another person do the feedback. Like, you know, I'd have Mike do it, and he'd put it in one of my hands, whatever side was the correct side.
Right.
And it works. It does.
Yeah, but I don't know if you got above 65%. You stopped
Well,
using
yeah, we did. Some of them, we went up and down like before,
it. Right.
but like I said, I've used it to predict some binary sporting events, and I've done pretty good, but I don't use it all the time either. So,
Well, keep good records. That will help. And here, of course, we'll have complete records.
yeah.
Okay, questions?
Marty, I have a question. It's a very fundamental question about your element list. And, I've never understood it. It says element 1, element 2, element 3. Who picks what those elements are, and do they have to stay consistent from session to session, or what's going on?
Oh, let me explain it once and then you'll understand it. You do an ARV transcript. You do a remote viewing transcript in your first step, right?
Right.
You then number what we call elements on your transcript. So if you do an ideogram, it's element number 1. Any word or picture you put on there, you mark those numbers. Then when you get to the analysis phase, the elements are the numbers that you put on your transcript.
Okay. That's good. Okay, and I don't have to be consistent about that from time to time, right?
No,
Like
the
if I do
numbers
one
will be
session, I do
different.
another
Next
session. I do another
transcript,
the same.
your next transcript is brand new and you would number it
All right.
in a new way. And
Okay,
then you
thank
go
you.
over each one and you give it, let's say, a big A or a little a for each of your elements.
I have a comment though. Tom would say that it would be helpful though if you numbered them as they came to you. So for example, let's say the first thing you put down was a color, and then the fourth thing you put down was emotion. You want to make sure that you're doing it 1, 2, 3, 4 as they come out, as you put them down, which is intuitive, but it is helpful when you're doing the analysis to know how they came to you as you were doing the viewing. But the viewer's in charge, so do whatever makes you
But
best.
I support that because even if you do your own analysis, you remember how it came back to you. You then can see clusters if they're numbered consecutively. Yeah,
It does help with the clusters a lot.
also, right. So I think that's good policy.
Could I just mention too that your elements remain the same, like you have your elements numbered on your transcript. So if you put number 4 is color, you might have a match for photo site A, but not have a match on photo site B, but it's still going to be a color because on your transcript, it's a color.
Correct.
Yeah, good point.
So just be aware of that, that, once you've numbered your transcript, it's numbered.
That's it. And so in the second case where there were that color or no color was there, you just leave that blank automatically when you're evaluating your elements.
Okay, thank you very much, Marty.
You're welcome.
I get a question about numbering stuff. Marty, would you like us to number our elements before we send in our transcript?
When you do your transcript, the next thing, well, that would be interesting. You could, I haven't required that, but then there would be a permanent copy with your element numbering on it. So if you want to do that, you can. That is completely optional. Though I guess, sometimes I look at those transcripts, but, more importantly, I'll be looking at the HAG scores and stuff like that. But the answer is yes. If you feel, if you've just finished your transcript and you've written end of session or EOS, that's the time you're numbering them, and then you can send them off in the normal system. That'd be cool.
What are we supposed to do with what we just did? The coordinate you gave us.
Well, I didn't hear that. Say it again.
We just did a session. Was I supposed to enter that somewhere, or what do I do with it?
Okay, you click the category, so it's in your CRs, your confidence rankings are in the system. You save it, and when you get a target back, and as I say, that's the next big thing I'm working on. I do not know how long it's going to take. Hopefully not too long. I've said that before. And then you'll do feedback with your transcript. So you
So
save it.
I upload it and then click next, and then that table comes up. What?
Right?
Is that right? And does it matter that I don't know what I'm doing? Like, this is a practice.
No. The next thing you do is be sure to save your transcript. And then you'll see what matched and what didn't.
Okay.
And you're learning.
Okay.
Because that's the idea, is to describe and or sketch your target feedback.
And how do I join a group? Where do I find that list on the left? And do you have any suggestions of what group I should join?
No, they're all the same.
Okay.
Are you a full member?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then I suggest joining the APPI _ 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 groups. In fact, go ahead. She won't care. Since you've already got something going with Julie, tell her that Marty made you do it. Send her an email and have her put you in those 5 groups, APPI _ 1 through 5, because that's what I'm going to.
I'm not APPI. Does that matter?
No, but the Precog Pro program and everything is really associated with APPI.
So
APPI is a nonprofit portion of app.
okay. Don't you have to like officially join that?
No.
Okay.
If
So I'm
Precog,
asking her to put me in
you
those.
officially join. It's free to get into app. And then if you're a full member, you get all those benefits. So,
I think I'm a full member.
yeah,
Okay.
Julie will tell you.
Okay.
But,
So
yeah.
Marty, if you're doing any of the financial groups like Pegasus and financial, those still count, right?
Those will count here, but they won't be kinesthetic.
No, but I mean, as far as if you're in the Precog Pro and you're in those groups and not in APPI 1 through 5, those are still going to count towards your Precog
Your
Pro.
hits and miss, absolutely.
And-
This is going to be just like all the others, except for the 2 possible targets.
Right. Yeah, and as far as Precog Pro though, that's just
Yeah,
for all the financial things. And if you're in more than one group, you do need to be a full member.
correct. So you can do more. And if you told me that you wanted to switch some of your groups to APPI _ to at least do some that way, fine. Hey, we're flexible here. We do everything we can to just enhance the ARV experience. Describe and sketch your feedback target. It's conceptually, it's simple. Okay, maybe we're done. I don't want to end it. This is something I got from the Monroe Institute, and I wish this for all of us: as much love, wisdom, beauty, and joy as we can experience. Definitely believe in a soul, and there'll come a time when you'll get to look back, and the more of this you have, the better.
Lovely.
Okay, you comfortable with me leaving, or do you have any last minute questions? Okay, then I will end this. Thank you all for joining
Thank
me.
you, Marty.
Thank you very much, Marty.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. And
Hey.
Thank you.